How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new video. So feel free to follow us on Snapchat. And of course, today the subject of discussion, you saw the title, Cardano, and the probability of seeing Cardano Lambo. I know that's kind of a bad joke, but I find it funny, and especially Global Coin Report giving this sort of attention to Cardano, Neo, EOS. Talking about a bull run. I mean, that's a pretty strong claim coming from a pretty well-recognized news source like Global Coin Report. Now, of course, this is all tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, exactly, I'm being completely serious. I mean, I always take the news articles with a grain of salt, but when it comes to looking at the way that things are, I mean, I'm looking at all sources of information. I mean, I'm listening to multiple different people just because I'm trying to make sense of it all. And at the end of the day, all you can really do is try to look for the most up-to-date information, and that's exactly what I've been doing. And I was watching this video by Dusty BC earlier, and this is one of my favorite cryptocurrency YouTubers. I've been a long time subscribed to this channel, and I'll actually be including a link to this video down in the description below. So if you guys are interested in checking out this content, you can easily connect to it. But he talks about a lot of similar things that we've discussed in this video already, and in particular, it is interesting to see how the news media has been responding, especially, I mean, it's one thing when we're in a bull market and we see things always moving up and up, but when we're in the sort of bear trap that we're in right now, and we've been sort of stuck in for quite some time now, it is something to be said when we see this sort of praise being handed over to Cardano. It makes you wonder what's happening behind the scenes. Now, if you really want to understand Cardano, I'd recommend that you do some research into the founder of Cardano. And this article right here was pretty interesting, just to hear the sort of language that he uses on talking about Ethereum Classic. It's definitely something that I would recommend everybody check out. And Cardano really does sort of have that strong intelligence behind it when you look at the people who are behind the project. Of course, any cryptocurrency that I see their name right along something like Google definitely is something that's worth noting, and especially when we see the positive attention that Cardano's been getting, having its name listed alongside these others with terms like Bullrun. It is interesting to see how a lot of these different analysis have pointed in this technology, and ultimately I do have to share in the general sentiment. Cardano really does have a good idea of where the future is headed, and when you look at the roadmap and what they seek to accomplish, the Cardano team really do seem to be tuned in and tapped into the conversation that's happening currently involving cryptocurrency, especially when it comes to regulations. And I think that where a lot of other cryptocurrencies fall short, well, that's actually where Cardano is going to be really having a lot of its success. And ultimately, I think that there's a lot of time in between right now and when we're going to see mass adoption beginning to take place. But I'm in particular very excited in seeing how Cardano is going to be developing and coming into its own. And it's really one of those cryptocurrencies that seems as if the community that's built around it is among the most aware and educated in the whole space. But that's also very tongue-in-cheek, because I mean, there's some smart people who are interested in all sorts of cryptocurrencies. But I think that as far as looking at how the establishment goes, it's not forced. It's essentially an organic community, and it's mostly built with like cited information is what I'm saying, and news sources that are validated. And Cardano does speak for itself on a lot of these tokens when you look at what they're accomplishing, and of course seeking to accomplish within the year time frame. I believe 2019 is going to be an interesting year for this technology. So in this video, we're going to be discussing Cardano and a lot of the really significant details that could be playing a big part moving forward, especially in the world that we're currently seeing, and especially with all the developments that happen now, with more people all around the world being connected by the internet and getting phones and smartphones and being connected in that global community. But I think Cardano definitely does have an idea of where things are going to go. I could pretty much talk a bunch of trash about how we're looking at all this red. I'm sure that there's plenty of YouTubers who are going to be capitalizing on the doom and gloom, but anybody can look at the charts, see that it's red, see that it's green, tell you that it's good, tell you that it's bad. But that's not what we're going to do here. Obviously, I know that you guys are smarter than that, and everybody knows that any given day is really just a symptom of that day in particular. It's not really a reflection on the totality of the space, and really looking at the history of the graphs and everything doesn't amount to anything. Looking at the past in cryptocurrency doesn't tell you anything. I mean, you might think that it's telling you something because your brain's going to come up with patterns and trends and stuff. But in reality, when it comes to cryptocurrency, it's every single day is worlds apart from the day that came before it. Why? Because every day in cryptocurrency is essentially like weeks in comparison, because so much communication happens over the internet. It equals a lot more time spent, and ultimately it's a rapid process. So we see the market cap where it is at 260. I mean, obviously this isn't good. This isn't bad either. I mean, what I think back to, because I've been involved in cryptocurrency for quite some time, I like to think back to May 21st, for example, of 2017. I mean, we are significantly up from that point, or even this time last year, if we look at, August, relatively, we have come upward. Now, once we start getting into the months of December and so forth, then you could start telling me that things are down from where they, but obviously I know not everybody watching this has been involved in cryptocurrency for multiple years. You don't have that much time under your belt with this space, but this volatility is really nothing that I'm concerned about, because those of us who've been involved with this space are pretty much used to the volatility. And honestly, I could see the market cap comfortably sitting at 250, and according to my calculations, we might be heading in that direction. And of course, Bitcoin dominance where it is at 48.7, really no surprise there. When we see shit hitting the fan as far as these altcoins go, we do have people who run up in the direction of Bitcoin, and of course they go all the way upstairs, because where else are you going to hide? And no fault there, but that pretty much is a good explanation for why we see Bitcoin dominance where it is. But obviously Cardano, interesting to see how, because of course we always talk about the fact that Bitcoin was essentially the introduction of cryptocurrency, digital gold, respectively, and then Ethereum with smart contracts. And now I would say that we're moving into the next generation of cryptocurrency, which would be something like Cardano. I mean, there is a good substantial reason why Cardano has managed to maintain itself in the number 8 position. And I would say that the way that Cardano is moving forward, it is definitely one of the technologies that I'm significantly paying attention to, in particular because I've done my research from a data perspective, from more of an analytical point of view, and I think that Cardano really does have a strong team that's working behind it, and ultimately Cardano is one of the technologies and I'm most confident in moving forward. I would definitely recommend that you guys follow Cardano on their Twitter, just to make sure that you're staying up to date regarding these technologies, and looking at the news regarding Cardano. I mean, it is interesting to see how Global Coin Report is giving attention to Cardano for what could be to come in August, in particular when we're seeing this sort of correction happening on a large scale. But I just see this as the basically it's moving out of weak hands and moving into strong hands. And honestly, if people are going to panic at this point, that's for them to make their own decision. Of course, remember, this video is all my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not your dad, essentially. Obviously you have to do your own research when it comes to Cardano, but I do have faith in where Cardano has been positioning themselves, as far as they definitely do seem to have a strong idea of where the future is going, as far as how cryptocurrency and the internet and the interconnected nature of these different variables is going to be playing a really substantial role in the way that we imagine the world of tomorrow really coming fully into light. So I'm not distracted. I'm not feeling sad. No apologies, essentially. essentially, obviously anybody who's involved with cryptocurrency knows the drill. But ultimately, I mean, I'm not disheartened because it's essentially the name of the game. It's the nature of the beast when it comes to these things. What they say is people usually aren't necessarily supposed to put in, more than they're willing to lose. Whatever, make any decision that you want. It doesn't bother me one bit. But all those old wisdoms that your grandfather would tell you, essentially. And essentially, I mean, when it comes to Cardano, in my opinion, leans towards the positive, because I look at how the space has been developing as far as the different applications go, and how society has a place for certain technologies and doesn't have a place for other ones. And I would say Cardano really does have its place in the future.